What's up, my friends? Well, as I would tell my kids, we are now 2 sleeps away from Thursday night football. I'm going to be showing you 3 different things today. I got my YouTube repeating in the background. So here's the deal. I'm going to be going over 3 different things today, 2 of which I just added because of someone that DM'd me a question that I just figured I'd show it on air, and another person that asked a question in Discord. So I'm going to be showing you some DraftKings contests for week 1 because there are so many contests, and you know the contest selection is incredibly important, and I'm going to show you one example to lead off the show almost immediately. Then I'm going to go over how can you look at previous crunches. There's actually a restore crunches setting inside Fantasy Cruncher that you can use. And lastly, somebody asked me, Mitch, do you guys have projections for Yahoo? Is there a showdown slate on Yahoo on Fantasy Cruncher? Yes, there is. And yes, we do. I'm going to show it all to you right now. Chat, what is up? I want to dive right in today. Nah. We're good, Bennett. What's up, Mark? Good to see you, Kevin. Rojo, appreciate everybody being here. This is crazy. We know it's NFL season when we're having 40 people waiting before we even go live on stream. Thank you very much for your support. I appreciate you very much. So I am right here. First up, now I'm going to go right down this list, and I'm going to show those things we just talked about. I'm going to open up chat, and we'll all talk together. Now, I'm looking at the captain mode for Thursday night. Now, I talk about contest selection all the time, right? Like, this is honestly probably the main issue a lot of people have in being a long-term profitable player versus somebody who spends a lot of time depositing money. 2 people can literally use the same exact lineups over the course of a year in every single contest, every single sport, and one of them can be incredibly profitable, and the other person could have lost a ton of money. Same lineups exactly, different contest. Now, I want to show you just one example, and it's going to be a nice and easy one, and I'll show you why. So, for Thursday Night Football, I actually maxed out the $5 flea flicker, okay? There was this beautiful looking, and I'm like, oh my God, who doesn't want like $1 million, right? Like a milli up top. You know, I'm thinking, man, I mean, I could do a lot with $1 million. Get a, 2021, 2022 Tournament of Champions entry. Oh, that's beautiful. But here's the deal, my friends. Let's take a peek at this, okay? This is 473,000 people. You ready? The $5 flea flicker that I maxed out, first place is $5,000. To get that $5,000, my friends, I have to beat, still a healthy amount, 11,799 other lineups, including my own. So I have to outscore 11,799 lineups to get 5K. Let's see how much money or what place I have to finish in to get 5K in this contest. So to get $5,000, I have to beat 472,980 lineups. And that right there is just one of the most primary examples I could even possibly think about, my friends. Happy birthday, Pat. I see you in chat, buddy. Literally, you got to pay $1,500 to max this baby out. You have to beat 472,980 lineups to win 5K. Meanwhile, you pay $750 to max out the other one that I did. And my friends, you only have to beat 11,799. 11,799 is still a lot of lineups you have to beat. Okay? I'm not pretending it's like, oh, well, I mean, this is just a shoe-in. You got this tied up. This is, go ahead, take out that new car loan. Like, no, it's still difficult. But 472,000 versus having to beat 11K, much different. 472 is a massive dart throw from 100 yards away. The $5 11,000 person entry or 11,000 entry contest, just much different. So be mindful, and you can do this on a smaller scale as well. What's up, Real King? What's up, CG? You can do this on a smaller scale as well. So, like, let's say you are 20 maxing this thing, right? And you're looking at, some of these types of contests. So there is a, let's see, let me find a better one. Right here. Nope, that's a single entry. So maybe they don't have them opened up yet. Okay, here's one. All right, this is a great one, actually. You can spend $40 right here to get in a 2,972 person contest. $40, 20 max, right? To get first place, you win $500. You have to beat 2,900 lineups to get $500. Let's go look at the $1 20 max. All right, so while you are only investing $20 to win $500, my friends, here's the $500 in the standings. You have to beat 148,585 lineups. 148,000 lineups to get the same 500 that you can earn beating 2,900 lineups. Insane. It's insane. It's pure insanity. And that is literally the difference of somebody who's profitable all year versus someone who is not. Your incredible score, you can have the greatest score you've ever had. You can be way up in the standings, and like, here's your return. Like, you can beat 147,905 lineups and you only win $75. 148,000. Guess what? That lineup that placed in the top 100 out of a contest with 150,000 entries and likely would have won the 2,000 entry contest. And that's how you maximize your return. You don't shoot for the stars every single time. And there are times when you can. You certainly, should feel free to do so. But when you're doing that, you got to make sure you know what your goal is. You can't just like start doing that right from the rip, right? You got to have the bankroll to be able to sink some money into there, okay? Now, somebody asked, what do you do if you've already crunched out stuff? I've lost my lineups. I want to see where my exposures were. I entered them into FanDuel. Here you go, my friend. So I'm going down the checklist of things that people were asking me right before I hopped on stream, and I want to go over them all. So first and foremost, I love talking contest selection, and I hope that was helpful for people. Now we're looking at DraftKings. I am looking at the Restore Crunches button. So if you have done crunches Monday night and you're done, you go to sleep, the next day you go back in there, you're like, I'm going to do some more work. I'm feeling pretty good. I got a better idea. And you go back here and all of a sudden nothing's here. You can't see how much your exposure was or anything. You could click this Restore Crunches button. When you click the Restore Crunches button, you go ahead and you can bring up any crunch you have done inside FC for that week. Whatever it is, all right? So this is week 1, Thursday Night Football. If I've done 30 crunches, I can go back and I can recover all of these. And if I click it, I can load it, and it would bring it to the bottom. So let me show you this. So, like, let's say these are gonzo. And I enter. I'm like, oh, my gosh, like, I don't know how much my exposure is. I feel like I got to change things. Click Restore Crunches. Okay, which one was my final? Crunch 2 was my final. Okay, load selected crunches. Bang, there they are. Oh, look at this. Now I see exactly what my exposure is for the Thursday Night Football slate, and I can look at it and be like, you know what? Yep, I was totally screwed up. I wanted to do things again. I don't want it on just Brady and Prescott, and I'm going to re-crunch. But that is the button you can use. So I hope that whomever asked that question was able to use that. Now, last question. I had to text CG to see if our Yahoo projections were up. They are, so I'm going to grab these. I have not looked at Yahoo yet, but I wanted to take a peek and see how these look. So I'm uploading the download file. I've got the Yahoo projections here. Click, and uploading them in. Okay, sweet. So these are Yahoo projections. I have never looked at Yahoo Showdown, but Dave had said that he was going to put this in there. So awesome. Kudos. Congratulations to all FC users. Dave, thank you very much for getting this up and running. And why does this matter? Well, my friends, Yahoo has Showdown slate this week. Yahoo has Showdown NFL DFS, and they have a couple sizable entries, contest entries for Thursday Night Football. I'm going to be playing them. So we'll be uploading the projections here. It looks like, let me look at this projection. So we got Brady, 26 if he's a star. So I'm thinking that's 1.5 times. Yeah, because Brady here. Yep. Okay. So 1.5, 17.85 times 1.5 would equal 27 something, right? Or 26.78. There you go. So it looks like the star spot is basically the captain spot. You get 1.5 times whatever the projection is. The beauty of Fantasy Cruncher is that it already multiplies that for you. Cool. So same projections. Yeah. So here we go. So the salaries are different, which is going to have some interesting values baked into this. I'm very intrigued to see how this is going to work. I have not done Yahoo before. I'm not even sure exactly where I can get. Does it have their salaries? Hold on. Let me see here. $125 is the salary. Looks like max is 4. So you can only force, is it only 5 lineup spots? Yep, 5. So it's very similar to FanDuel. So you can go 4 ones if you want, things like that. Okay, awesome, cool. So I guess we're going to be doing some Yahoo this week. We will have the Yahoo projections and cores and all that stuff to help people out. But I got to look at it. I'm not going to pretend like I'm some Yahoo purist over here that knows everything about it. So for Fantasy Cruncher on Showdown slates, yesterday we went over how to use game theory to set up groups for each player. So what we did is we set up positional groups over here through the groups tab, where we controlled all aspects of like, well, what happens if Dak Prescott is my captain quarterback for Thursday night? Here are the players that I want jammed in there. Here are the guys getting the projection increase, stuff like this. So I could do like, if Dak Prescott is my captain, I want to make sure that Antonio Brown is on the other side. Maybe if Dak Prescott throws for 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, and this team's coming from behind, maybe I think Antonio Brown and Chris Godwin get peppered with targets, right? So there we go. I'd give it like an increase to Chris Godwin. So you can play out game theory through this and through your lineup building groups when you're doing this. Again, here we go. We've said if Mike Evans is my captain or Chris Godwin is the captain, I always want to make sure Tom Brady is included. So you can go through and you can do all this. Now, the one thing I wanted to try for today to cover, and I think it's incredibly important, is the settings that go into this. Now, there's an article on the site that talks about kind of the salary and the different types of structures of going 4-2s, 5-1s, 3-3s. And I'll let you all read that on your own time. But, when we did our lineup study research this past August, we did, 29 hours of streams looking at purely lineup study and lineup rewind. We probably spent a good 12 of those hours or so looking at showdown slates specifically. We found through doing that a lot of the pros were really scattering their exposures. They were scattering their lineup construction. I went into it thinking, you know what? I feel like 4-2s, 5-1s are going to be optimal. Now, here's the deal. I think that there were a lot more winners. We did find we saw a lot more 4-2s in there. The next one was probably 5-1s, and then 3-3s was the last. But it didn't mean that there was not 3-3s included in the top 20 in the standings. There were 3-3s that won some of the showdown slates. There were 5-1s, and then the most was 4-2s. I don't think you could go into this saying to yourself, I'm forcing these in, but I do want to show you how to do so if you choose to do this. Salary, not something I really care about either. I'm going to leave this as flexible as possible. I really, really don't want to jam this up. I think depending on the game of the week, you might want to allow more defensive players against your offense and or more offensive players versus your defense and vice versa. A slate like this where I feel like it's just going to be a lot of points here, you probably don't want to include any more than 2, but that is totally up to each user. So I am going to lower my cap today to 50%. I want to try to go over like, what's it look like if I start to really spread out my exposures with my rules. And the one thing I wanted to look at is here, and let me just show you, here is how you would force in a certain type of stack. So what this means now, as I've said, I want no more than 4 Cowboys included on every single team, but I also want to limit the opposing players to 2. Now, if I left this open, what I am saying is 4-2 stacks and 3-3s are okay, because I'm only saying a max, meaning I have not said a minimum of 4. I just left that there. So I guess you could put 4 and 4. And then like 2 and 4. But if you just want more maximum flexibility, you just come here and say limit opposing players to 2. And now that says, well, if the Cowboys use 4 players, the Bucs can only use 2 players. If the Bucs have a 4-player stack, then the Cowboys only have a 2-player stack. There will not be any 3-3s at all. Okay? Yes, because I've said a max of 2. All right, so I've added some randomness. I've added the global exposure cap. Now, the last thing I wanted to show people was the My Data tab. What's up, Momo? Good to see you guys. CG, appreciate that. Thank you very much, buddy. So I'll have Yahoo ratings also trying hard for week 1, if not week 2. Yeah, honestly, Yahoo is kind of, we're adding it on the fly. A lot of people want to use it. So, hey, to the 50-something people watching right now, thank you very much for the like button. You guys are smashing a like button these days. I haven't even had to say it, and I love that. I also want to say, listen, I spent the last 2 years, we had 1 million hours watched on Twitch over 2 years doing our FC streams. And we said, you know what? It's August. Let's go YouTube. And it was an interesting time to try to get people to switch. I feel like I might have done it too early, but here we are. I saw yesterday that yesterday's video had 550 views or something like that. So it seems like people are finally switching back over. Thank you very much for your support. I am humbled. I am absolutely humbled. I say that often, and I don't mean to beat a dead horse. I literally just feel incredibly humbled every single day. It is mind-boggling to see the support y'all give, the Rise or Fall family and me personally. So thank you for that. And thank you for making things easy for me. And even while I'm just talking, I just checked the YouTube chat as well. And I saw another 9 people hit the like button after I just said hello. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, my friends. So one thing I wanted to look at next here was the My Data tab. So I think this My Data tab is actually something that could be pretty cool for Showdown slates. I haven't exactly figured out exactly what I want to do with it, but I know I want to apply something here. I don't know exactly what it's going to be. I'm thinking there's going to be something involved here with the ownership projection. And here is why. So let me go into NFL lineup study, and we're going to go look at just one Showdown slate. I just kind of want to show you guys where my thoughts are. We'll go back to 2020 week 1, and I'm gonna click update. Here we are. So we've got the first week, the first showdown. I'm just gonna click this one right here. All right, so it's just some random Showdown slate. I'm just clicking. Okay, so the one thing I kind of want to look at here, my friends, is like when we are looking at all lineups and we're starting to look at the lineup. Oh, it's gonna take a second to load. Look at this, 349,000 entries. Maybe I should choose a different contest. That is oh my gosh, that is such a massive contest. And the craziest part is that week 1, the $10 contest is 472,000. It's even more, my friends. It's even more. That's insane. That's crazy. Oh, it loaded. Beautiful. FC Power. Okay, so we've got the projected ownerships here. We've got the ownership sum. So when we were looking through this stuff last time, we continue to see lineups whose ownership were like 160% or lower. And you can see even right now while I'm scrolling through, 162, that's as high as it's getting right now. Here's 155, 163. The first one was 142. Here's 175. And the chalkier the lineups get, the lower the cash in the standings they are, right? So, and this is just one slate I was looking at. So if we go through this and we start to put together lineups, and by the way, let's just crunch out a couple lineups real quick, and you guys can see, and I'll add these exposures in. Let me see. Okay, so ownership projection 154. Here's 170, a 171. So I was thinking about it, like literally just laying there thinking about showdown crunching. Like I have a sickness, okay? I have a sickness, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, there's got to be something I can do to differentiate myself in a tournament this big. I want to climb the standings. It's got to be centered around leveraging the public. How can you do that? Ownership, leverage their ownership. How can I leverage their ownership other than just saying, I want to use more than, the field on CD Lamb. I want to fade, whatever, Dak Prescott. It's like, there's got to be something else to it. And it hit me. I'm like, total lineup ownership. So we're here today, and I've never done it. It's not something I even tested in Rewind, and I wish I did. Because we tested in Rewind for, 7 slates or 7 days. We went the entire 2020 season. We rewound, ended up being 49, 50 slates. And I did not test it. So if I did something like this, I've got the idea of doing like 165, right? 160, maybe 150. I don't know what the answer is. What's up, John? I don't know what the answer is. So I'm in here and I'm saying, FC, using the projected ownership, each lineup must have a maximum of 165% for the total ownership. And if I were to crunch out lineups, when you do this sometimes and you ask for a lot of different things, sometimes it gets bottlenecked, right? It won't give me 150 because there's only so many lineups it can create with whatever settings I put up. This looks like it's totally fine. 150 works out just great. Now, remember, this is using all of my group rules, meaning if Mike Evans is my captain, okay, guess who my quarterback is? Tom Brady. He'll be in there in the flex spot. So I've got all of this all set up, how I want this to be set up. I've got all the players in there the way I want them set up. I have everyone included for week 1. You can see a nice allocation across all the different types of players. Some of these kickers are finding their way in there. Now, if I run that, I kind of want this to be lower now the fact that I didn't run into any issues, I want to change it. So now I'm going to turn that one off, and now I'm asking for 150. I kind of want it to get bottlenecked. Like, I want this to be like, stop at 80, stop at 120. I do. I like legitimately want that to happen. And then I'll loosen it up and ask for more lineups at a different ownership. So this looks like it's totally fine. 150 is going to be easy again. And by the way, so every single lineup being created has a lower ownership. Now, here's where it gets tricky. And this is what I wanted to bring up today. If you start using the My Data tab and you're forcing ownership issues in there, and you're starting to say, I don't want more than 150% total for my ownership for my entire lineup. Well, guess who starts to get used? My friends. You're going to have players that often just don't have the upside you need to take down a tournament, and you're starting to get a lot more of them. Gio went all the way up to 47%. Tight ends, I'm starting to get some more OJ Howard. Look at the freaking kickers. The crunch before this, 46-21. Crunch before that. Oh, that was a 3-player stack. Or 3 lineup. Here's 150. Look at this. So the initial, before I forced in ownership caps, look, that's crazy. Suck up and Zerline, 4 and 5%. 4 and 5%. Literally just saying kickers are irrelevant. They're not going to help me at all. As soon as I force in the ownership thing, and I'm like, you know what? Lineups at 150% or less. Look what's happening. It's going very suboptimal to meet the settings I've put on there for FC. So when you guys are changing things up and you start to add all these rules, that's great. I'm proud of you. We've covered a lot for the past 30 streams preparing for this week. Like, I'm talking probably at this point, September 7th, probably close to 40 hours of Fantasy Cruncher streams here, preparing for main slate, week 1, primetime, week 1. The last pieces to the puzzle is kind of marrying all this together, using all these things we've covered, but keeping in mind that every single thing you add will have dramatic effects if you're not paying attention. I appreciate that, Steve. Thank you for saying so. Last month or so of streams have been so helpful. I feel a lot better using FC this NFL season. So thank you for all you've done. Man, that is incredibly kind of you to say. It really is. I thank you so much. I actually left. So here's part of, I had this conversation with my wife. Yeah, I always like to talk about full disclosure, right? Transparency. I was making on Twitch probably anywhere between $500 to $1,500 a month. It was nice. It was like a nice little chunk of change that really helped out with things in life and everything, right? And when I switched to YouTube, I forgo that. I don't get that anymore. But I had talked with my wife about the fact that 2 things were going to happen when I did the switch. Number 1, I was going to be able to help more people out with FC who just don't use Twitch. And number 2, I was going to be able to grow a nice following on YouTube that I've had a really tough time on Twitch doing. I feel like I kind of capped out around 2,200, 2,300 followers on Twitch. And I've seen on YouTube over the past 2 weeks or so, it's gone up like 400 subscribers or something. Like I can't even keep track anymore. So that's happened very quickly switching to YouTube. And when I see comments like that, it's very validating for me, which who doesn't like a little validation in life? So it's very validating for me to see that what I've done and making that decision has helped somebody. And that's ultimately why I started Rise or Fall a year ago, was to just try to help people out, get better at doing something I freaking love doing and playing DFS, right? So thank you for saying so. I get DMs like that every once in a while, but anytime somebody says something publicly, it means a lot to me. And I appreciate you saying that, Steve. And thanks, man. Just wanted to say that was really nice and it meant something to me. So thank you for that. No one shows FC like this that I'm aware of, especially on YouTube. Thank you, Rich. Appreciate that, buddy. Okay, so again, watch what happens. Let me circle all the way back after I went that little side comment there. If I'm looking at this, I'm like, you know what? I just don't want that much exposure to kickers just to meet that criteria. There's 2 things you can do at this point. Number 1, I think you could probably just lower, oops, not 200. You could probably just lower They're exposure caps, meaning I won't get any more than 20% of suck up, any more than 15% of Zerline. And one other thing I want to make sure is not happening. I go to the position stacks, limit rules, and I'm going to put kicker from same game to one player. All right. And the reason being is similar to the running backs. I don't want Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones to be in the same lineup. That is terrible correlation probably for this team. I don't want Ronald Jones. Oh, it's frozen. I don't want Ronald Jones and Giovanni Bernard to both be in the same lineup. Could it end up being the correct play? I don't know. Probably. I mean, it's DFS still, it's pretty volatile. But I still want to go into it trying to think of these scenarios. Listen, Giovanni Bernard pops off. He was probably on the field for an insane amount of snaps. They might have been losing, so he's got a bunch of receptions, whatever. And so that means Ronald Jones Jr. is not toting the rock in between the 20s or in the red zone. Same thing goes with the kickers, right? So why can't I get the same game kicker? Limit the number of kicker. Let me see if I can just do something like this. I don't know why, but look, I just thought through it and I got lucky. So to do the kicker rule, I simply included Dallas and Tampa. I've never had to do that before. I've never tried that one out, but I just trying to think through different ways to fix things, right? So let's calculate, let's see if it works. There we go. So look at this. So I was able to cap them, as I had been sidetracked, at 20 and 15%. And I also made sure that I did not have any lineups that had suck up and Zerline in the same entry. I don't want that. I don't want that at all. That seems very suboptimal. That's not really the ceiling you probably need in a showdown entry. Now, if I click the K right there, and then I click the little magnifying glass, this will bring up all the lineups. You can see Suckup has 30 lineups. Zerline is in 0 of them. It might not have even been an issue, but now I know for certain they're not in there together. Defenses did not really get used. And again, actually, this is an interesting thought. If we do end up with more exposure to kicker, I actually wonder if also including a defense with a kicker has some correlation. I don't know. I've never researched that either. That's an interesting prospect. Tight ends, looks like we had a little bit more exposure, was shuttled towards Gronk. And here we are. So these guys started to get more down here. Brown went from like 30%. Gallup went from like 32 up to 37 and 41. Scotty Miller was like, 5? Cedric Wilson at 3. They both got a nice 5 and 3% increase. So it looks like that we had moved 47% down to 20. So 27 and then 12. So we had to reallocate 39% of our exposure. And it looks like Gronk soaked up like 15. And these wide receivers did another 15 or so. Running backs, not much different. Gio was at like 47%. Now he's at 50. And our quarterbacks remain the same. And captains, not much different at all. Not much different at all. Looks like we had still just a little bit more to Brady. If you're like, Mitch, quarterbacks aren't the way to go at the captain spot. Okay. Well then, fam, you guys can lower these exposures if you want, like the exposure caps. So I'm saying I can't have any more than 10%. That's 15 out of 150 lineups could be Tom Brady. Mitch, no. I don't like, let's leave the rest. Let's see what happens. So I am just thinking through scenarios. I'm looking at how I adjust things in my lineup creation to see what changes while I'm building these lineups. And then I'm adjusting as I go forward. One thing I think is totally easy about doing, what about limiting to only one kicker and defense per lineup? You probably could do that. I'm not even running into that issue. I think this game is just going to be too high scoring. The projections for defense are so low. It's not like you're going to get much exposure to them. I think if you're using any defense in this game, maybe you're boosting the Bucks. You can do stuff like this. You give them like 3 thumbs up, and then you do 10%, right? You can do something like that, and then I think we'll probably end up with 10%, just about. I mean, look, I'll just use FC's projection for them. You just click X. Let's see. Is that bumping up? There we go. So now we got them capped at 10%. So now we have more exposure to the Bucks. I mean, that's not a bad idea. I mean, you have so many different ways to use FC. Honestly, these types of streams are really exciting for me because we can kind of just think through all the different scenarios and we can fix it on the fly. This is all I do when I am building my lineups. There's no magic elixir. By the way, look at that. I took away from Gronk. So I like to crunch, and then I want to see when I make my changes, what switched. And when I added defense and I said, I want the Bucks, it took away from Gronk. It literally took his 12% and was like, here you go, Buccaneers defense. And I think it's incredibly important when you are crunching. Listen, Anybody who uploads their, projections and then just crunches one time and is like, ha, I'm ready to go. I'm going to go win some money now. Good luck. Good luck with that. I truly think that when you're doing this, you got to be like a little bit of a puppet master. You crunch, you see what it looks like, and then you start to, change all these different things to try to get what you want to happen. And little things like this, right? So I'm looking at this, and, by the way, I love this. I love AB and Gallup having a lot of exposure here. I really do, especially if they're the lowest two, owned core, wide receivers, then gimme them, right? And then you go to the captain spot, and I'm looking at this. Okay, well, very similar here. Like, let's see. If these guys are going to be the highest owned, and I'm in a really big tournament, do I want Brady and Prescott as my two highest owned? No, probably not. So I'm going to cap them. I like AB down here at 4.6%, right? So you can do something like this, right? I just hit the X button. That's a nice quick way to gives me FC projection, which is higher, which will make his value score go up. Look at this. His value now is at 2.1. Value score is what generates most of whom gets used in what. Now watch this. I calculate this. AB, look, he went from 3% exposure up to 14, 13% now. All I did was just increase his projection, and that increased his value, which now I have more of him in the captain spot, which, by the way, is much cheaper than the other players in the captain spot. Look at this, AB, 8.4K, Godwin at 12.9. Now, because you used a cheaper captain, you are going to get a lot more money, right? You have 4,000 extra doll hairs at this point. I can use those dollars, and I can go up, and instead of AB being used in the flex, now those $4,000 are being used on players like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. And look at their exposures went up as well, right? I bet you Zeke is in there more too. Yes, he is. He's up to 31%. Sweet. I'm having so much fun doing this stuff. I can't wait for Thursday night. I can't be alone here, right? Y'all are excited. I can't be the only person so jacked up for Thursday night football. I can't be the only person excited right now. By the way, I don't know who's hitting the like button today. I've said it one time. Thank you so much. We're almost up to 40 already. I said it one time. You guys are the best. I swear. We used to have such a rabid following on Twitch where we would have 200 messages per stream. We'd have, 80 to 100 people watching at all times for a couple of years. We'd have, 200 to 400 people for our Sunday morning show tuning in, and switching to YouTube. I wondered if we were going to get that, get the excitement back, get that momentum. I feel like we're getting it right now, and that's because of you. It's nothing I am doing, and I am forever grateful for the support you guys have shown, you guys and gals have shown on YouTube. And I see the momentum coming back. I see the viewership going back up. I see the people from Twitch. I'm starting to see your names in chat, which is really cool. And it makes me feel good seeing people again. And you guys see me in Discord. I mean, I'm in the welcome channel, and I see certain names come back. I'm like, yo, it's Yuli. What's up, dude? Welcome back. Oh, welcome back, man. I'm just, I don't know. It's like, you guys are my fam, right? You guys are my community. You guys and gals are my community. You're my friends in this area and in this space. So when I see you in Discord, I see you in chat, it's like, your good friends coming to the bar late on a Saturday, and you're like, yo, what's up, Yuli? Good to see you, Greg. It's Aaron Toll or John. It's like, I don't know. It feels good. It's kind of like that party atmosphere. So thanks for hanging out with me and just dealing with my craziness. I'm very excited. These videos have me even more excited for NFL. I like that. I like that, Greg. We should be feeding on each other's positivity, right? I mean, what else are we here for? If we're just going to go through this stuff negatively, we're going to have a miserable time playing DFS. You got to stay positive, keep it light. Jonathan says, I did some lineup study, and only 5% of the time does a defense and a kicker end up in the optimal. That's the stuff right there, baby. I love looking at stuff like that. Meaning, when we go through this, that might be a really interesting thing that you can add here together. So you could say stack kicker with exactly 0 defenses from, were you doing same team, defense and a kicker, or just any defense and kicker? So there you go. You do this. So now you're saying, listen, we're playing the game of probabilities. 95% of the time, lineups are Is that for the winner? Yes, in the optimal. So 95% of the time, kickers and defense are not in a lineup together. That's usually like one of them, if they are at all, right? So I'm saying I don't want a kicker in there with a defense. I just don't. I'm playing the probability game. And that allows you, and here's the thing. How many times does this happen, right? I don't know. Let's see. Maybe 7 out of your 150 lineups. But look at it this way. Let's say, well, let's use the number 10. It's easier, right? 10 times per showdown slate, you have a lineup where a kicker and defense are in there together. 10 times. That is 10 entries Thursday, 10 entries Sunday, 10 entries Monday. That's 30 times per week. 30 times per week, you have an incredibly suboptimal way, just crazy negative EV chance of winning money, right? Let's just say out of those 30, all 30 just they blank. So every week, and I don't care, let's say it's a $1 contest. Just keep it super simple, Mitchell. That's $30 lost every single week for 17 weeks. Quick math, $510 lost on the year. Right there. A little rule like that, theoretically, if we were using these numbers, could save you $500 over the course of the entire season. Which, by the way, if we're using this $1 per lineup scenario, covers 3 1/3 of the week's total of entries. $500 in entries. That's crazy. That also means you have 510 more opportunities to have a winning lineup, whether it's a min cash or you're cashing high. That's still better than a loss. So you can go through this, and I love that he brought that up, John. Thank you for contributing. That's the way I like to play. I think DFS is a game of probabilities, man. You're looking at what's the probability of something hitting its potential. And if it has a very low potential, screw it. I don't need to do it. I'm talking like the totally outrageous low probabilities too, like that one, right? 95% of the time, it just doesn't work. Well, screw that then. Why am I doing it? I'm not saying go play optimally. No. You still got to get in the top 1 or 2% of these contests to even, have a nice long-term profit over the course of the season if all you're playing is MME. So we're not aiming for minimum cashes. We're not aiming for 3 times or 4 times ROI. We're aiming to win a tournament every time. But you still don't have to burn money on the side and throw away $500 in these totally suboptimal builds of having a kicker and a defense included in the same lineup. 5% of the time, that's the optimal build. I mean, we're talking, it's 1 out of 51 slates. That's just disgusting. Is that right? No, 3. That would be like 2 or 3 out of 51 slates. Yuck. I don't want that, man. I always use the limit rule to do the same thing. That's a genius. I mean, I'm right there with you. I love the idea of doing this at this point. I think this honestly could be one of those things that, I want to go back through lineup study. Honestly, we spent 30 days doing this stuff. I wish I was looking at that. How frequently did these tight ends end up in there with the kickers end up in there with the defenses? I don't know. I feel like we missed an opportunity there, but I'm glad we have an opportunity to look at it now. Good question. What would you recommend a first-timer playing Showdown in NFL going 150 in FanDuel? What would you recommend a first-timer? Well, what is a good suggestion? I think, honestly, keep in mind when you're playing these Showdown slates, you are against a lot of people for a price, right? I mean, that's just how these contests are set up if you're 150 maxing. There's very few small 150 max contests on DraftKings, on FanDuel, wherever you are. Often when I'm 150 maxing, I try to get in between 1 and 3% of all my entries. I'm able to soak up that would be 150 lineups out of a 5,000 person entry, right? So if I have 150 of those entries, I've got 2.7% of the entire field's worth of entries in my lineups, right? I've soaked up 2.5% of the total fields of entries. So I'm only against 97.5% of the field. You can't do that on Showdown slates. Those are massive slates. We're talking 472,000 entries on the $10 150 max. I entered the $5 150 max. That was 11,000 people. That's still a lot. So if you're on FanDuel and you're entering their contests, which are very comparable, you need to be building to win the freaking thing. Don't be trying to cash out 2 times ROI, 3 times ROI. Totally useless, totally irrelevant, not going to help you out. You have to try to win those dang things. How do you do that? I would say go back, watch the last couple streams, maybe last week's showdown strategy stuff that we've gone over, and try to start applying these things. I think first and foremost, going through your groups, setting up these large groups for each and every player, meaning every single time that one of these guys ends up in the captain spot, which, by the way, is literally the recipe for success, is focusing on what happens with the captain spot, because you got to have the proper correlation. You know, it's not just getting the perfect captain picked. It's, well, what's the correlation like when that perfect captain is used? You got to get the nuts built in there, and you can't get that if you don't have the proper correlation for when that person ends up being the best play at the captain position. So I think going through and saying, if, and by the way, I did a group for all these players, if Antonio Brown is my captain, here is how I've game theorized the best way for him to be used as the captain. Okay. And you go through, you do all that. The next thing I would say is you're probably going to want to go to your rules, set up your stack rules so that you don't have these crazy suboptimal builds. Again, you want more darts going towards the top of the standings. We're focused on minimum caching, but we're also not going to just stand there and light money on fire as we are entering all of our contests. I don't want to lose 20 lineups per slate based on having terrible limit and stack rules. Again, that $20 per slate, or in my case, for the $5 150 max, that's $100 per slate. I don't want to burn. I don't want to throw it away before the slate even begins. That adds up. If I max those out, 51 more slates this year, or 18 weeks, I guess that's even more now. You know, that's that adds up. That's $5,000 for me. You know, I'm not trying to throw away $5,000. I want that $5,000 to have $5,000 worth of entries, potentially taking them down. Oh, man, you guys are bringing the heat today. I like it. This is what our streams on Twitch used to be. Thank you for all these comments and questions. Showdown slates are incredibly volatile. Absolutely. You got to make sure when you go into these. And seriously, I love your follow-up comment there, Adam. When you do these showdown slates, you expect to lose your money. I'm not even joking. As weird as that sounds, if you go into these showdown slates, expect to lose your money. I'm not gonna paint a beautiful rosy picture that, you know, we're all gonna go in there with the same, you know, projections and the same strategies. And oh man, we spent, you know, 12 hours of lineup study streams over the last 2 weeks and lineup rewind, and we've got it down. We're all gonna win showdown together because we figured it out. Oh, we're perfect, man. Winning is coming. That's not true. It's not true. There's no rules in DFS. We only have guidelines to build our lineups by. And guidelines are basically just built on trends. And all trends are not finite answers, which is why they're called a trend. It is something that is happening frequently and recently. That is a trend. But trends will change. DFS, there's an ebb and flow of what works and what doesn't. And you've got to ride the wave. You can't say, that's it, I'm doing this 35% global cap all season. It does not work like that. So things that work in the beginning might not work at the end. Things that worked at the end of the season might not work to start this year. 2020 is 2020. 2021 is 2021. Do not be discouraged if you start off on the losing foot. And honestly, don't get too bold and feel too confident if you start off with the W's. You start off winning some money, congratulations. You know, don't all of a sudden be like, that's it, I got this bad boy figured out. Selling a car, selling a kidney. I'm max entering everything from here on out. No, you got to focus on each slate individually because it's unique in and of itself, because that's what daily fantasy sports is. Otherwise, it would not be called DFS and would not have the following it does. Y'all got me on a little tirade there, tangent. So good questions. Appreciate you. Are we not bringing back our Twitch energy? Like, is this the Twitch energy or what? Like, I feel good right now. I'm loving the questions. I'm loving the comments. I see chat answering each other today, trying to help one another out. I appreciate y'all very much. Let's see here. Let me jump on one thing real quick. Make sure that everything's going smoothly. Thank you again for people who are supporting on Twitch. I totally forgot I'm streaming to Twitter today. Oops, totally forgot that. If you have been chatting on Twitter, I love you. I appreciate you. If you've been on the Periscope or whatever it is, that is a new thing I'm trying. Thank you for saying hello and chatting with us. Let me see what else we have here. Luke Buchanan, appreciate you, buddy. Need to go back and watch the last few streams. Did you happen to go over building cash lineups? No, we've been focusing primarily on these showdown slates, which I am not entirely focused on doing cash games for. I'm very, very I'm very focused on MME specifically for that. The intro music, you guys missed the intro music? Oh, man, I like that too. You talking about this one? Appreciate you. I needed that. I needed that second. This was the cue the last time I was trying to get our. Yeah. You're right. This was the cue that it was time to get our learn on. Yes. I'm always learning from you guys too, though. Let's be honest. It's kind of a joint effort. Fam, I appreciate you today. I thought today was a phenomenal stream. We were rapid fire. I'm thinking tomorrow should be more centered around like actual lineup building. Okay. And I know we've done so much specifically for Showdown. Let me ask chat right now. The music. That's funny, dude. I'm with you, Pat. Let me ask chat. And I know that YouTube has like a response delay or whatever. I don't know. So chat, I think it's probably important to keep focusing on Showdown. I mean, we're all playing Thursday night. And I kind of want to do Showdown all the way up through Thursday and then have Friday through Sunday be focused on the main slate, at least for week one. But I'm sure there are some people who are like, no, I feel pretty good at this point. Maybe one more Showdown stream, and then let's do main slate stuff. Or like, what do you guys and gals want to do? This is your stream. I'm here to make sure that you're supported when you're using our content and you're using FC. How can I help you? How can I help you? Like, what would you like to do with our next few streams? Because we have 3 weekday streams. By the way, it's the regular season. I will be streaming Saturday. I will have a 3-hour Sunday morning stream with multiple guests and people coming in and out. So that's a very long stream. So what do you want to see on stream over the next couple days? 50-something people watching. Just fire off. They're not demands. Just fire off your requests. What would you like me to cover? What do you want to have like a foundation for going into the week? Going into Thursday night, going into Sunday main slate. All right, let me check chat. Luke says main slate. All right, noted. Appreciate you. Let me ask you this, Mitch. What do you feel? That's not what we're here for, Adam. The heck? What do you guys need? What are you going to turn this around on me? I'm the host. Allie Bourne, just sell me a lineup, she says. The freak? Allie, we need you. The Showdown Queen. We all remember your screenshots on Showdown. Oh, Superdraft, excuse me. Maybe that's what we do. Should we do Superdraft? Yahoo? Should that be like a stream for itself? That is not a bad idea, actually. Because these sites and these Showdown slates, they're just getting bigger. Everything's getting bigger. Single entry for Showdown. Aaron, that's not a bad idea. I like that as well. Superdraft, Yahoo, single entry. I think I actually really like doing. I'm writing this down. These are actually really cool show. And the reason why, part of the reason why I'm asked this, I didn't do Showdown streams last year, but I spent so much time on Showdowns this August on our Twitch streams that I'm playing them. I'm playing a Showdown for every single site. I'm doing every single site on Thursday. So let's see. So I like the idea of doing single entry optimal builds. I think we should cover that. I'm doing that tomorrow. I'm telling you that right now. And what that means is setting up settings perfectly in a way where you can crunch out a single entry. Maybe you're entering the $100 SPY, the $25, whatever these names are. Okay. I think we should look at site specific. So I think we need to do FanDuel Showdown, Superdraft Showdown, Yahoo Showdown, of course, DK, which we've been doing. DK wrap up. Single entry is great. Yeah, I think that's a phenomenal idea, because I know a lot of people like doing single entry for this stuff. So I think that's a really good idea. We'll be doing single entry optimal builds tomorrow. That's gonna be the video. Like, the title of the video will be Week 1. Bucks, Tampa, whatever. Tampa, Dallas. Single entry optimal building, whatever. Like, I want to cover that. And I think we'll probably look at it for DraftKings and FanDuel. There's going to be some overlay on some of these side sites. I'll call them side sites, even though I probably shouldn't. These other non-main sites that are building in popularity, I think that we need to cover those. So next 2 days, let's do that. It's going to be all things Showdown again, I think, is probably imperative. Maybe Thursday we'll start looking at some main slate stuff. But tomorrow, it's Wednesday. Single entry optimal builds, FanDuel Showdown, Superdraft Showdown, Yahoo Showdown, single entry optimal builds for DraftKings, of course, as I've already set everything up. I'm going to do it live because it's going to be probably my actual entries. We'll go from there. All right. Thank you so much for today. We brought some of the Twitch magic back to YouTube today. I really feel like we did. I mean, we had probably 100-something chat messages, a bunch of questions. We had the energy. People are supporting it like crazy again. I love y'all. We got up to almost 50 likes. If you didn't hit the button on the way out, go for it. Do it. See if we can get above 50 today. I appreciate you. I will see you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern. Be on the lookout, by the way, on YouTube for the side videos we got to. I don't know what else am I supposed to call these. I don't even know the YouTube terms. I don't know what to call everything. Here's YouTube. We've got other stuff going live. Like, I did a video this morning, almost 100 views. Thank you very much. Look at the YouTube. Look at the streams for FC, man. These are growing again. I love that. Thank you so much. 528. They're going to keep going, I feel. What else do we have? We have Beastie is doing 2 videos. He's doing a Thursday night Showdown picks video, which should post, I think, tonight. I'll be posting it tonight. And then he's got a bottom of the barrel video for lineup building stuff tomorrow morning. Like, a lot of stuff there on YouTube. We'll have actually going to have 2 Fantasy Cruncher videos, not just streams, uploading to YouTube as well. We're going all in. We've got like 15, 20 videos per week. We'll have 7 streams per week. Man, we are all in this year. We are all in. Thank you all. Appreciate you. Have a good day. I'll see you on the inside, my friends.